All right. We are live. What's up, Rich? Good to
Oh,
see you.
yeah, you too, Tyler. Just
Yeah,
another Monday.
another Monday, man. In March, it's getting busy. People are out there buying short-term rentals.
Yeah, this is
Um,
our busiest month for rentals. It's our number one month in revenue. So my
really?
yep, yeah,
That's
that's something a little different, kind of. So anybody out there thinking about balancing their revenue from a summer heavy, we get March is probably our best month, followed by February and then summer. So it's a good evened out nicely.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm just seeing I've got Eric Edwards here in the captions. All right. Well, Rich, while I get that set up, tell us a little bit about yourself. Thanks, everybody, for joining. My name is Tyler Coon. I'm the CEO and founder of Savvy STR Agents. And today I'm hanging out with Rich Clover, who covers Bradenton, Florida area. And Rich, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you've got going on.
Yeah, thanks, Tyler. Yeah, as Tyler mentioned, I'm in Bradenton, Florida, so kind of cover the Florida Sun Coast. Whether it's a little bit north of Bradenton, a little bit south of Bradenton, but definitely there on the Gulf Coast. So I had a background in enterprise sales, selling large software systems to large companies and government agencies for large software companies. And in 2021, purchased our first short-term rental, and I was hooked. And from that time on, I was trying to figure out how to get out of my W-2 and get full time into real estate and short term rentals, and kind of brought me to the journey we're at now. I own two personally. We have a 3 bedroom, which was our first one. Then we have a 5 bedroom, which is our pickleball paradise. It's our 5 bedroom, 18 guests, doing over 200,000 this year in its first year. And so I also co-host 12, 13 other properties with a couple more coming in. And then just joined uh, Tyler's team at the end of last year. I was always helping others find good properties in Bradenton, and then they would get handed off to another agent to just go transact the deal. And I felt like I was doing all the hard work, right, and finding the good properties. And so I'm like, you know what? I think I probably need to call Tyler's team and see if there's a good fit here. And I'm fortunate there was, and it's been a great fast start.
That's amazing. Awesome. So you've got a couple of properties yourself and you're managing some properties down there,
Yep,
right?
that's
So tell
correct.
us, you were diving into seasonality. So let's start there. Tell us a little bit about the seasonality of the area.
Yeah, that's one of the strengths and why we see such high numbers on AirDNA is because of our strong or maybe lack of seasonality, if you will. Our peak month is March, so we're right in the middle of it. So it's a combination of the snowbirds from the north that are coming down to escape winter, here at the tail end of their winter, but it's also spring break season. And we're not the college spring break destination, but we're the family spring break destination. So families from all over the country. We've hosted international guests in the last couple of weeks. Are coming down to the area to enjoy Anna Maria Island, the beaches. I just had a soccer team that checked out of my big house. They had a tournament at IMG this week in the middle of spring break. So all kinds of different guests coming to the area. And so March is our number one month, and then followed by June and July. And it's property dependent. On my big property, it was a little lower in January just because there's not as many big groups traveling that month. But my 3 bedroom was right up there at the top of my portfolio because there was more snowbirds and smaller groups that were traveling down. So it is really strong. We really have 2 slow months. September is really slow. And then the beginning of October through October, it starts to creep back up. And then we take off once Thanksgiving hits. That's kind of we get a lot of Thanksgiving travelers, and we're ramping up right into the holiday season and taking off into our winter season.
I mean, so it's really a year-round destination,
It
right? I mean,
is.
the demand is there.
The demand is there, and honestly, it's good to have a couple breaks. May slows down a little bit. End of April, May, as we're coming off of our spring break season, getting ready for summer. So it gives us a month to make any updates or add some amenities that we want to kind of refresh the property, put some paint on the walls,
Yeah.
and the same thing. That September timeframe is another good time to do that as we get ready for our next peak. So it's almost like we have two peaks. We have our winter peak, we have our summer peak, and we have a little bit of shoulder season on either side.
That's amazing. That's really great. What's the difference between Bradenton and some of the other big Florida markets?
Yeah, I think why you see Bradenton doing so well. One, Anna Maria Island is a very popular destination. The local tourism board is doing a lot of marketing and advertising in the northern states, TV commercials, print ads. Facebook ads, etc. So they're advertising, they're bringing people down here. So it's good to have someone like that kind of advertising on your behalf to attract guests. But the other one is going to be, I think for families, it's just a much more laid back side of the state. So I think the other coast, maybe South Florida, is maybe known a little bit more, maybe younger crowd, party crowd, whatever it might be. But on this side, it's very laid back. Our island is known for being a laid back, old Florida vibe. There's no hotels or condos on Anna Maria Island. They're all nothing can be above 2 stories. So it just has that old Florida feel of the beach town. And then we're talking about Bradenton specifically. There's no regulation. In Manatee County, you have to get your fire inspection, so you have to make sure you're being safe and being a good host. But there's no occupancy limits, no minimum nights, and so that's one of the strong factors that helps us be successful.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay, so there's a difference here because we're talking about the islands,
Yeah.
which are Anna Maria and Bradenton Beach versus Bradenton and Sarasota. So explain the difference.
Yeah, so Bradenton is kind of the last mainland city as you're going out to Anna Maria Island. And we have such high demand for the island and other sports tourism. I mentioned IMG, that Bradenton is a popular destination. But then, yeah, out on the island, you have the city of Anna Maria, city of Holmes Beach, the city of Bradenton Beach. And as you work south, you have Longboat Key, then Siesta Key, and Lido Key. So all of the beach barrier islands up and down the coast there. Those are very good for a lot of revenue. When we're talking about Florida beach markets, like something out on the island that's a 4 bedroom, seats 12 people, nice design. It's probably going to do 250 to 350, maybe 400,000. You get something on the water; those are pushing over 500,000 a year. So you're not going to go there as a cash flow investor of like, hey, I need 20% ROI. But if you're a lifestyle buyer and you're looking for that lifestyle asset that's going to produce those returns to cover your expenses, there's a lot of good options out on the island for those types of buyers too.
That's amazing. So that's really the difference, right? You have Anna Maria Island where if you want to be there, fine, but it's really expensive, so you're not going to get the best ROI. Or you go right over the bridge to Bradenton and the
Yep.
ROI kind of shoots through the roof, right?
Yeah.
Because prices pretty significantly come down. And I think you've told me Anna Maria has pretty strict regulations as well, right?
Yeah, there's 3 different townships. Anna Maria is the far northern part of the island, and they've recently put in regulation that caps your occupancy limit at 8, no matter what. So it's not 2 plus 2; it is 8. So you can have a 8 bedroom house, and you can only have 8 guests. And then you move down, you got Holmes Beach. Holmes Beach, the zoning is very tricky. There's some small pockets. You really have to work with a local to make sure you're finding a property that can actually be a short-term rental. And then when you find one, there's 7 night minimums. And then you move south, Bradenton Beach. And Bradenton Beach might be right now the most lenient. It's a 2 plus 2 modified. So if you have a 4 bedroom, you can get 10 guests. Um, and they don't have the minimum night restrictions. Uh, that's kind of like the best place to look, that you can from time to time find that maybe 10 to 12% ROI, that, a good investment. You were talking about, you know, ROI on a 1.5 or $2 million purchase, 10%, 12%, pretty good return. So there's definitely some opportunities, but those don't come up often. A lot of time, it takes a lot of value add to get it to where it needs to be too.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, tell me the purchase prices. So for Anna Maria, Bradenton Beach, and then Bradenton itself, what are the purchase
Yeah,
prices you need to be in there?
yeah, Anna Maria Island, just to get in, I'd say the basement's gonna be 1.5 to get a single level home with maybe 2 bedrooms. Um, Anything that is newer that, sits up high and is maybe built in the last 10 to 15 years, and there's been a number of homes that have been built out there, you're probably 3 to 3.5 to 4, 4.5, all the way up, and it keeps on going depending upon the size of the house. And then as you work down to Bradenton Beach and Holmes Beach, it's pretty similar. There's a few more older homes in Holmes Beach and Bradenton Beach. There's just not as much landmass. The Barrier Island's a lot skinnier there. And so but it's gonna be about the same. It's about 1.5 to 2 is kind of where you're gonna be looking to start on a 2 to 3 bedroom house.
Got it. Okay, and then you come down to Bradenton Beach.
Yep. Yeah. Bradenton Beach, similar. It's going to be in that 1.5 to 2. You'll find some single level homes now that may be under that, but those also just got flooded with the hurricanes we had this past fall. Anything that was up, the living area up on the second floor was all dry. Just had to clean the sand out of their garage areas. Um, yeah, so it's about the same. And then we move over to Bradenton, and that's where, like, 3-bedroom house with a pool, probably from, there's a few that have come up, some good ones at 400,000, but it's probably going to be closer to 450 to 5 on the entry level. And really, you find that, and it has good space. Come in with a design, because it's not going to look good, but come in with your design and just spruce it up and add that design, and you have a good property that's going to do 85, 95, 105,000.
Yeah.
Same thing. You can scale up to a larger 3-bedroom that maybe has a little bit more space. There are a couple, I think there's 2 or 3 3-bedroom houses in Bradenton that have added pickleball courts recently. Um, one of them's doing about 125,000, another one 145, and one of them's up around 165,000 a year for a 3-bedroom, sleeps 10 people with a court, and so they went all out on the amenities, and they're getting the returns. So
Wow.
don't be afraid of that. A lot of people come in this market, they see the big numbers and think you have to have that big property to get up to 185 or 200. You do, but if you can get something at 600 that has, a third of an acre, and you can put in a court, putting green, bocce, outdoor bowling, and just kind of really do it up, you're going to hit those big numbers, 125 to 150, and the returns will be worth it. Just takes a little more effort on the front end to get to where you want it to be.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. Okay. And I just want to pause here real quick, guys. If you have any questions for Rich about Bradenton, Anna Maria Island, that whole Southwest Florida area and investing in short term rentals, please drop them in the comments because we'll be chatting on those here in just a couple minutes. What do you think is the best bedroom count? Like, what's the best, if you were to say the best honey hole property is this, what does that look like?
Honestly, Tyler, what I would say is it's not a bedroom count, it's a lot size. If you can find something that is a half acre or more, you can always add bedrooms to it. And so there'll be 4-bedroom houses that come up, but they're going to be on a small lot. They're going to have room for your pool, but not much else. So you have to consider that. Like, that's not going to be one of the better performing 4-bedroom homes. Um, Likewise, we will from time to time get the 5-bedroom, and once in a while a 6-bedroom that's not in an HOA that comes up. Those are going to be pretty good, obviously, because you have a bedroom count, you can get the guest count up. But if someone's looking right now, I would say you want to be looking for something that has the right lot size, that you can add the amenities that you need. We're becoming that mature market, that when you add those amenities, you're going to stand out from the competition, because we saw a huge influx after COVID. I think we went from 800 properties in our market to over 2,000 in about a year and a half to 2 years. But those were people that bought their house, had a pool, put furniture in, and threw it on Airbnb. And so right now, the people that are coming in more recently, that are putting in the design, putting in the amenities, they're doing really well. And I think there's still tremendous opportunity for more people to come in and do that.
Yeah, amazing. Cool. Okay, what else do people need to know? What am I not asking?
Yeah, I'd say another popular city that's close right next to Bradenton is Sarasota. And I think probably most people have heard of Sarasota, but maybe not Bradenton. And thing to know about Sarasota is if you go to AirDNA, it's going to show really strong numbers, and you can still do well there, but they do have the 7-night minimums.
Hmm.
And the Sarasota County does not allow short-term rentals at all. It's a 30-night minimum in the county. So you need, again, make sure that you are working with someone local that knows the jurisdictions, knows the city limits, knows the regulations. Um, but I have heard that the city of Sarasota is starting to find hosts that are trying to do 7 nights or less.
Hmm.
So the numbers can make sense, but just go in knowing that you need to plan for that 7-night minimum. But if you're looking to be in Sarasota, it's got all the culture and all the museums and theaters, and downtown dining is amazing, right there by Siesta Key. So it's probably some higher price points per night too. But the 7-night minimum, just kind of cuts into your revenue management a little bit. But don't shy away from Sarasota. Just kind of know it's probably going to be 15%. You're not going to get those 25, 30% returns.
Yeah, totally makes sense. Awesome. Let me get rid of some stuff here. There we go. Cool. Okay, let's take a look at this because I was looking on AirDNA and I thought this was really interesting. Um, hold on. Now, where is it on my screen? Oh, there we go. Okay, cool. So I was looking at this, and the numbers are really good year over year.
Hmm.
They're all up, including annual revenue, which is up 11%, revenue per available rental, which is up 10%, even occupancy rates up 5% year over year. That's not like a coincidence. That's not just normal fluctuations. That's more people coming to the area year over year. What can you attribute that to? Is that just like post COVID? You're getting people went there, they went there for the first time. Now they're coming back again. Is it going viral on social media? Like, what's leading to the occupancy rate going up so much across the board?
Yeah, I don't think I could point to one single thing. I think it's always been a destination area, but as more maybe investors or people are learning about short-term rentals in Bradenton, that's why you're seeing the growth and why more and more people. So there's just more places for people to stay. So I think the demand was always probably exceeding what was available, and so now the supply is obviously catching up to that. But also, uh, what is keeping those numbers high? One, I think we're getting better properties. People are coming in, so that's going to drive up your ADRs, going to drive up your annual revenue. So better properties, better pricing. Market is paying for those amenities, but also we are getting investment in the area. Not necessarily specific to short-term rentals,
Yeah.
but in areas that require short-term rentals to support what's going on. So Manatee County, which is the county that Bradenton resides in, they have what they call the Premier Sports Complex. It's a little bit out east on the other side of the interstate. You don't want a short-term rental out there, but they host large national events all the
Mhm.
time. A couple years ago, we had the 18 and under international soccer friendlies. We had Team USA, Team Brazil. There was a couple other teams that came in for these friendly matches. Thousands of people are there watching, staying in hotels, staying in short-term rentals. We had the Ultimate Frisbee Championships, national championships that were
Mhm.
televised on TV. Were in Bradenton. Then now they're investing $44 million into a outdoor competitive swimming arena. Not arena,
Okay.
it's gonna be open air, but competitive swimming, diving, as well as competitive pickleball. So just gonna be continuing to bring in more events and more people.
Yeah, that's really cool. So Bob has a question. He's asking, is west of 43rd Street still a good area? He's looking at Palmasola as well.
Yeah, good question, Bob. If you're west of 43rd Street, you're generally going to be in a good area. When you start moving to the east of 43rd Street, you want to be a little closer to Manatee Avenue. As you get a little bit further south, it's not bad, just not quite as good. But you could also find a lower price property and just maybe take lower revenue. But generally, west of 43rd is good. Palma Sola is honestly probably like that's the honeypot where like if you can find something in Palmasola, that's a really nice place to be. It's as close as you can get to Anna Maria Island before you get over the causeway and I'll start going over the bridges. So it's a really good spot. I'm also looking every day, but right now I don't think there's a four-bedroom home in Palmasola that's under $1 million right now. So they have large lots there. There are some good properties I like that someone wants to spend that 1 to 1.5 and kind of have that big super property. Some interesting options right now. But yeah, Palmasola is a really good area.
Yeah, look at the numbers when I draw a circle around Palmasola. Annual revenue's up
Yeah, it just goes up.
15% year
Yep.
over year. ADR's up 8%, RevPAR's up 12%. So yeah, definitely definitely
Yep.
people are interested in that area for sure. And this is
Yeah.
nice because they can stay and get right into Anna Maria Island. How
Yeah.
long does it take to get from here to Anna Maria Island?
That's the tough question. I always say it's 6 miles. So if you leave at 6 a.m. and beat the beach crowd on a busy weekend, it's going to take you less than 10 minutes. If you pull out, at 10 a.m. on a holiday weekend, it's going to take you 45 minutes to an hour from there. But when you do that, there's also 45 minutes of traffic behind you because you're getting, a big head start because you're that far west. So, um, and generally it's not that bad for beach traffic, but it is like those busiest of days on a weekend, 4th of July weekend, whatever. Yeah, you're going to see some pretty rough traffic. Otherwise, you can get out there for 30 to 45 minutes, anywhere from in Bradenton.
Traffic means people are coming.
Yeah, there's plenty of people.
That's what you wanna see, but I
Yep.
like your point about, obviously the supply wasn't enough for the demand, and that's why all these numbers are up year over year, but here's something that I want you to comment on to figure out what's going on here. So if you look at total active listings, you're actually down 6% year over year, and from the peak of March of 2024, there was 1,400 listings, down to February of 2025, only 1,100.
Yep.
So what's with the reduction? I mean, this is a good thing for short-term rental
Yeah.
investors, right? This
Yep.
means that all the other numbers are up, including occupancy, and you have to spread that amongst 6% less short-term rentals. This is not happening in very many places right now where the rental growth is actually going negative. So what's driving that, and what do you think for the future?
Yeah, I think a few people probably got scared away by the hurricanes that came through. Those were the two worst hurricane events that this area has seen in numerous years. You know, you talk to anyone that's alive and living here now, they had never seen anything that bad, both with the first one that gave us the flooding, and then the second one was the wind that went right over the top of us. And you know, we survived, we've rebuilt, and you've seen the numbers how we're up year over year, even after two major hurricane events. So I think that's probably attributes to some of it. And then the others are we had such an influx of buyers and new people coming in, new listings coming in. You can see if you go over to the left that March where we were under 800, with that much growth that's come in over the last few years. Some of those people that were able to make money, a little bit of money by buying a three-bedroom house with a pool and putting furniture in it. You know, after it's grown and got more competitive, they weren't making money, so they've sold, and so it's kind of that bottom end of the properties are probably falling off, and getting replaced by better properties. So it's good for the market, good for investors, good for guests traveling in. As people know when they come here, they're gonna get a good experience.
Yeah, they're gonna have I always like that. People say like, well, is it just an amenities race or what is it? At the end of the day, that's only Airbnb got I feel like it got a little bit of a bad rap. Somewhere in the last like 3 years, there was TikTok videos and Facebook posts and all this about my host is making me do all this cleaning and all these tasks,
Right.
still being charged a huge cleaning fee, and there was a lot of flack there for a minute, I feel like, on hosts, and my hope is that we're raising the bar. We're telling our
Yeah.
clients you have to put great amenities, be a great host. We're teaching them how to be a great host every week, every Wednesday. And if you don't have the link to this, we host Savvy Sessions every Wednesday where we're teaching you how to be a great host and giving you tips and tricks and all sorts of amazing information from all of our agents, other guests, vendors, things like that. So if you're not on those weekly calls, definitely drop a comment and we'll send you a link to register for those. But we are trying to raise the tide, and that's what we do here at Savvy is try to make sure that our clients are future proofed, right? Not
Hmm.
in amenities, because you've seen this, Rich, right? The people that bought a pool house and they stuck some Amazon and Wayfair furniture in it, and those seem to be the ones that are kind of falling off the market now,
Yep.
and they're being replaced with properties like yours with a pickleball court, and all the amenities and guest satisfaction, I think, is going to go through the roof, which is only going to be good for short-term rentals in the future and only going to be a reason for more demand, I think.
Yep, I agree. And you hear Kenny Bedwell talk about building a moat around your property, right? Of like, you know, what is your moat that's going to make you unique that someone can't come in and replicate it? And that's where I point to finding something with a lot size, right? That, you know, if you can find something that has decent space outdoors, you can make the indoors as nice as you want to, right? You can take any house and make the inside of it nice. Well, for the most part. But on the outside, you know, if you only have room for a pool, you're not going to have room to put in that putting green or a fire pit area or sitting area or a pickleball court or outdoor bowling, whatever it might be. So you don't have to have all those things, but having the space so you can continue to add to your strategy of like, okay, after year one, here's the additional amenities I want to add to keep putting myself ahead and driving my revenue up. And that's a good thing about here too, is adding the amenities doesn't keep you competitive. It actually does have a good ROI that drives you up to that next revenue level.
Yeah, amazing. Okay, cool. We have a couple quick questions here, so let's check into
Sure.
those. Ton Weir says, did they have any damage to the properties from the Helene hurricane last year?
Yeah, good question. So most of it was very minor damage. It was maybe trees that were falling into the yards, or just a lot of cleanup. Um, Vinyl fences that, you know, the white nice fence, just the panels get blown out. You just got to put it back together. And then there were a few properties that had, we have sometimes those aluminum cage enclosures we call the lanais, and some of those frames got bent, needed to be replaced, or some just removed them altogether. But in general, like major damage to homes, very, very, very limited. To very specific, small areas where maybe a tree did happen to fall on a house or something. But um, in general, they know how to build homes here in Florida, so nothing got blown away. Most of the roofs are still intact. Maybe some shingles need to be replaced, but overall, the damage was fairly minimal. However, on the island as well, there were some more because you did have water that was pretty much covering the entire island. So
Hmm.
all those single level homes definitely took on water. They're in the process of either being torn down and rebuilt or being remodeled. But in general, especially in Bradenton itself, yeah, just very minor damage.
Got it. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So take a look at demand here. This was really interesting to me because even post COVID, like it went up a little bit. It's really last year that it kind of exploded. If you could, I mean, there's a really stable outlook, really stable, and then kind of, 2023, but then 2024, I mean, it just went up
Hmm.
significantly. And even right now, year over year, it's up 4%. So demand, I think, for these amongst less short-term rentals is actually higher year over year. And it's not every market that that's happening in. So do you think that something like that can continue?
I mean, I think it has to an extent, again, because especially as we get into our busy months, like you can, you know, probably look at an occupancy report and Price Labs or AirDNA for the month of March, and our market as a whole is probably close to at least 90% occupied. I wouldn't be surprised if it's over 90% occupied in March. And so, you know, that just shows how busy it is that, even properties that maybe only get 5 bookings a year, they're all happening in March. But yeah, so I think he's going to continue to see it growing, and there's going to be limited supply. Not every home here makes sense for a short-term rental. We do have pockets of neighborhoods in West Bradenton that have an HOA. And honestly, like if you are considering this market, um, you know, give me a call. Let's get set up because the good properties go really quick. I put out a property last week on our kind of email list of property of the day. I'm like, hey, shouting to the rooftops, this is a good one. Someone needs to get this, and it was under contract in 2 days. And it wasn't by one of our clients. So, uh, so that's the other thing. If you're ready, like, let's get connected. Let's get all of our ducks in a row. Because when a good property comes up, they go really quick because we do have a lot of eyes on the market from investors like ourselves, as well as just other people moving to the area. And so it's a very popular area. A lot of people are coming in, both traveling and for primary residence.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask is what does that sort of demand look like? And I think, to your point, it's high. It's a growing area. People are learning
Hmm.
about it. People are moving out of Tampa and Miami and Orlando and moving to some of these kind of tertiary submarkets. And this is what Bill Faith says all the time, right? Don't invest in Tampa, invest in Bradenton.
Yeah,
Maybe not specifically those words, but
sure.
kind of close, right? To the tertiary markets. And I think that something like this is there. And you can see it in the data. I mean, if you look at Anna Maria Island, everything around here, the numbers are all up year over year, including Anna Maria Island, which has a 99 submarket score, by the way, on AirDNA, which is one of the tops. And then if you come down to Bradenton Beach, you've got the same thing, a 98 submarket score. And you've got revenue per available rental up 19% year over year, and occupancy rate at 72% on average.
Hmm.
That's crazy. That's one
Yeah.
of the highest average for a whole market for 2,000 short-term rental listings I've ever seen.
Yeah, it is crazy. Yeah, like I said, it's such a like unique destination. Thinking about the Florida Gulf Coast, you really have Anna Maria Island, Siesta Key, Sanibel Island are kind of like the big barrier islands, right? That people are going to want to come and stay, and arguably like Anna Maria Island with its just old Florida feel is just a good laid back place. People love to just come and hang out for a week.
Yeah, very cool. Talk to us a little bit about insurance. I'm surprised that nobody in the chat has asked about insurance.
Yeah,
But yeah, tell us a little bit about that. And if y'all have any questions, we only have a couple more minutes, so please throw them in the chat now.
yeah. I mean, it's definitely something that you want to be aware of, but regardless of what the headlines say and the people on Facebook that say the market's crashing and insurance costs are driving everybody out of the state, I'm not seeing that. Um, I have clients that are buying now and getting their short-term rental set up. The quotes that they're getting are right in line with what we're expecting. I will say the flood insurance, if you do require flood insurance, those have definitely gone up. My primary residence, I'm like about 2 blocks off of the Manatee River, which kind of feeds into Tampa Bay. My house is up above flood level, but I still would have to have it. Like my first year was like $1,200, and it's gone up to 2,500, so it's at least doubled. And I've never filed a claim. So if you have to get flood insurance, you're going to see it go up. If you're a bigger house and out on the island, the flood insurance will definitely be a little higher. But what's probably unique about the island too is there's a lot of those people probably don't carry mortgages on their home and probably self-insure a lot of it, just to offset some of that risk and some of that cost. But yeah, the homeowners insurance, uh, yeah, it's right in line with probably what you'd expect to pay for homeowners. It's not driving anyone away from investing there.
Yeah, and obviously, you've got all these other metrics that are up year over year. So, even if insurance is going up a little, insurance is going up everywhere. You can
Yeah,
avoid it. So at least get into a market, one, that has really high demand, and two, a point that you brought up, which is, in these areas, there's tons of demand for the houses. The best ones go very quick. What does new supply look like? Is there a lot of new construction? Is there any room left for any new
no,
construction, or are you basically, um, just like this is it? What you have is there.
yeah, it's pretty much what we have is there. They're not going to build any new short-term rental properties. We're definitely not going to get those neighborhoods in Bradenton. There are some new developments going up, but they're all the big, you know, apartment complexes and homes and townhomes that are all under an HOA. Not going to be able to do short-term rentals in there. So yeah, the what we have is what we're going to have. You may find an empty lot from time to time that someone tears the house down and rebuilds it. But again, with the build cost now, like you're not going to build a 4 bedroom home for under $1 million down here anyways. So
Yeah,
it's probably not what you're looking for from an investment. But yeah, finding a 4 bedroom home that hasn't been touched since the '70s. That's you know quickly. I'll touch on my property. It was a 5 bedroom house. The original owners, the family that built it in 1976, and it hadn't been touched since then. Walking through it, it was a mess. It was just, the matriarch of the family was the only one left. She couldn't take care of it. The pool was in disrepair. There's a huge oak tree growing through the pool cage. But I saw the lot size and I saw the bedroom count, and I'm like, this is a gym. And it was off market. It took me 9 months to acquire it, but we got in and put a lot of money into it, and we're in it for under a million, and we're doing over 200,000 a year. So uh, so being able to keep an eye out for those and coming into the market knowing that, like, the good opportunities are going to take a little bit of value add up front, but you're going to get that return, over and
yeah,
over, down the road.
like anywhere, and I'm sure that appreciation is probably off the chart. So what does
Yeah.
that look like?
Yeah, people are always asking me, like, what am I seeing? Are the home prices going down? I'm seeing houses that sold in 2023 that are still selling now back on the market, and they're right now at least priced 25, 30, 40% higher than what they sold at 2 years ago.
Yeah,
So the appreciation is still going up. I think it naturally has to slow down a little bit. We are seeing homes that hit the market, going for that like pie in the sky number, that they don't get it and they come back down. But when it ultimately trades, it's still trading for numbers higher than what we were seeing just a couple of years ago. So
yeah.
continuing to see that, just again because where we are, we can't build new inventory. Um, and like I said, when something nice comes up, it's there's a lot of value to it.
Yeah, very cool. Okay. Ton Weir has a follow-up question here. He's not from Florida, but he loves Florida and wants to buy a short-term rental there soon. By the way, Ton Weir, you should probably book a call with Rich. It's
Yeah.
savvy.realty/Rich. And by the way, who doesn't want their short-term rental agent to have the name Rich if that's what you're looking
Right.
to get? Uh, seems simple to me. Uh, he says he'd like to know what are the best market cities for short-term rentals in Florida?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all going to be buyer specific. We all come to it with our own biases and maybe things that we want and like, right? And if you're looking at it from a pure investment, where like, I'm never going to be there except to like get it set up or do some work to it. and it's purely cash flow, that's going to be one type of market. But you might be like, you know what, like I'm probably going to come down once or twice. I wanted to
Yeah.
be close to a beach. I wanted to have this, I want to have that. So it's definitely going to be buyer specific. Um, and I'm not going to speak for all of the Florida markets. I know there's some great opportunities anywhere, right? Depending upon who you're working with and finding that right property. So I'd say anywhere in Florida is good. Let me share a little nugget with you too about Florida. Florida in the state constitution protects homeowners' property rights. So when you buy a home in the state of Florida, whatever rights you have to that property at that time, whether it's short-term rental or whatever it might be, no one can take that away. An HOA can't come in and say, we changed our mind, we're not going to allow short-term rentals anymore. The local jurisdictions can't take away rights that you had when you purchased that property. So you're protected. They can't ever take that away. So that's why you see out on Anna Maria Island in the city of Anna Maria, where they only allow a guest count of 8. If you go out and search on Airbnb, you'll see homes that sleep 16 people because they're grandfathered in perpetuity. And so it kind of gives them a leg up on the market that no one else is going to come in and it can do that. And
It's
so
almost like
just the,
buy something and hope that the regulation comes,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like,
exactly. Like if you're an owner, like, and someone comes in and says we're going to add some regulation, you're like, bring it on. That's just makes mine more valuable, right? But yeah, so that's one of the things that the state is very friendly to homeowners.
yeah, very cool. Okay, in parting, what didn't we go over that you think people should know?
Yeah, I think we touched on most of it. I think the biggest thing that as I'm talking with clients and potential buyers for the area, that I'd want them to know is when we're looking at properties and looking at listings, don't expect it to look like your dream house. Like it just is this most beautiful thing that you've ever seen. You just can't wait to buy it, right? That's not what we have. We have good, solid homes that are going to need you to make it look attractive. And it doesn't have to be the most attractive on the outside. We also want it to look decent and look good, but but it has to have that framework and the foundation for you to come in and make the design and add the amenities. So um, Tyler, I know you have all those beautiful homes on the side of mountains up there in North Carolina that have the lights on the back that, flying off the shelf. Houses here look very normal, and some might say you're ugly, but you add the amenities and the design on the inside and create an experience, and people don't care what the outside of the house looks like.
Yeah, I mean, if you want that, go to Broken Bow, Oklahoma, right? They're modern mountain and all these beautiful
Yeah,
things, and the returns are trash, right?
yeah,
And it's like, yeah, I mean, we struggle with that problem too. And what I always tell my buyers is, it's a high barrier to entry. You want to be in a market with a high barrier to entry, right? Like, if you're
yeah.
going to take that on, so much better for you because so few people will. And I
Hmm.
think we're seeing that in the number of listings actually going down, but all the other metrics going up, because the people that are staying there are actually investing and they're reaping the rewards of it.
Yep. Yeah, agreed 100%.
Cool. I love it. I'm excited. I'm going to come down there
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah, we'll get you down here. We'll have to find a time. We can bring the team down to our big house, and we can have some meetings, play some pickleball, and enjoy the Florida weather.
I got to learn how to play pickleball first.
Yeah, I think it's easy. I
All
think
right.
knowing the rules is the hard part.
Yeah. All right. Rich, thank you very
Yeah,
much for coming on. Everybody, if you have any comments, if you see this later, throw something in the comment box below, or just book a time with Rich,
yep.
savvy.realty/Rich. Rich, where else can people find you?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram at Rich_Clover. Obviously on Facebook. I'm on Twitter, but that's more just to watch my son. He plays baseball in college, so it's more personal and sports related. But yeah, if you want to find me, I'm on Instagram and Facebook and active on both of those.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks.
Yep. Thanks,
All right,
Tyler.
y'all. Bye now.
Thanks, everybody.